Nicole wanted us.
And live, Competition Plus Power Hour here on Tuesday night from wherever you are watching from. We are glad to have you here on the Competition Plus Power Hour, brought to you by Weldon High Performance. I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. Over there is Mr. Dujanay Bland, the host of the Not Bland Show. Well, folks need to definitely take a gander over to your side of content creation, Mr. Bland, and listen to the last episode. Give us the teaser on the show that you just wrapped up.
We had Raul Torres from South Georgia Motorsports Park on, and he is having this initiative that is going to help not only create kind of a wall that will be a wall of history, but it is also going to help generate money for the racetrack. So he's got some really cool stuff in store, dropped some nuggets about the Showcase of Speed, also talked about their oval track. There's a lot of good stuff there. Even talks about how, his relationship with Bill Bader has helped him as far as him being and growing and learning how to be the best track owner and operator that he can be. So a lot of cool stuff there. Go over there to @the Not Bland Show on YouTube. Give it a like, give it a share, and subscribe. That helps us. We're trying to get more sponsors in 2026.
Raul Torres, along with his wife and the entire team there at South Georgia Motorsports Park, they have got it going on. And they have already, I believe, a first-class facility, and they continue to make improvements. I know they want to get the circle track back online as well, and they're looking for the right people there. And they want that to be a premier motorsports facility for Southern Georgia and that region of the United States of America. And they are certainly working hard towards that. They already have some of the great events in drag racing. Was there earlier this year for the Southeast Gassers Association season opener, and that was my first experience being at SGMP, and it was a great experience. You can tell they know what they're doing, and there are some great bones there to build upon. And I have to say that if Epping can handle a national event, if Kent Washington and Pacific Raceways can handle a NHRA national event, South Georgia Motorsports Park could very easily be the new home of the Southern Nationals. They can, even I think right now, handle a smaller but nonetheless comparable NHRA national event to some of the other venues that are already on the NHRA schedule.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something where you can kind of reduce the amount of classes that are there. Maybe it's a class, to be honest with you, maybe it's a class that Pro Stock sits out and Pro Stock Motorcycle comes, and that way they can get an earlier start into the season instead of having that almost pretty much a month-long gap before they return back to Charlotte. So there's ways to get around it. There's ways to make this thing work. And I think the facility is big enough, and they are going to continue to invest and then invest more into improving that facility. And what's even helpful is he has talked about the county really being good partners with them. And that's something that the track struggled with early on, but they are starting to build a great relationship, and curfews and things may be able to be moved around here in the future as they continue to build those relationships and kind of, have a happy medium here where it's a little give and take.
I think that is one of the best elements of what Mr. Torres, his wife, and the team's been able to do is really turn that relationship with the community. Tracks have to have a good relationship with their community.
Mm-hmm.
It really is going to help you. It's going to further you. It's just advantageous. Don't fight the community. Attempt to work with them, and the Torres have done that, and it is to their benefit and to the benefit of South Georgia Motorsports Park and for drag racing fans in that region. So That's good work. I also am looking forward to that Peach State Showcase of Speed, because I think it's a model that, from what they're saying, I think it can go beyond. It can be elsewhere. It can impact, in particular, NHRA drag racing in a positive way. So I hope we get some good news soon. I know on your show and what you said that they should be mentioning some things here soon, and can't wait for that. I can't wait for our guests here on the Competition Plus Power Hour tonight. Guest number one, Mr. Clay Millican, NHRA Top Fuel. We're going to have him on in just a few moments. And then Daniel Wilkerson will be on with us of NHRA Nitro Funny Car. And I'm looking forward to that conversation with Daniel because, well, that's his body right there behind me. And hopefully can get the cell phone and everything work, and I take you over to the body, and he can explain some things that are happening here at McKinney Corp. There's some extra holes in the body right now, and hopefully tomorrow I can get Murph on camera too and talk about what Tim and Murph and all of them been talking about to help alleviate some pressure of these tethers and what these bodies are going through in these explosions. And that's just tough. I mean, man, you know, it's always going to blow stuff up eventually, but they're trying to figure it out for sure. So you don't have another Buddy Hole incident, John Force, yes, so on and so on and so on. So yeah, looking forward to the conversation with Clay and with Daniel here in just a few moments. Well, Dujane, why don't you set us up for the first break with one of our presenting sponsors, and then we'll talk to Clay.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious here. You guys, whether it's in the air or on the ground, you need pumps that work and are going to be reliable. And there's no other than Weldon high performance pumps. If you want pumps that are going to be reliable and going to do you a great job, whether it's in the air or on the racetrack, it's Weldon high performance.
Mr. Millican, welcome to the show, and we are near the biggest drag race in the world, about to, well, get underway here soon, and you certainly will be a part of that. And what a big part of your life it was last year with a massive, massive victory.
It was huge. You know, it's one of those things you just don't know till you actually end up winning the thing. You know, it changed how I'm introduced, and I'm not mad about it. You know, instead of you know, just my name now is U.S. Nationals champ in front of it, and that's a pretty cool dang thing, I'll tell you. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint, even though you're trying to obviously sprint to that finish line quicker and faster than the other car, but it is a marathon. I mean, people have already been started parking there, you know, a week ago. You know, it's crazy. I'll be headed that way shortly, and let's get after it. It's the big goal. It's U.S. Nationals. It's the granddaddy of them all.
So who are the digs on side the car this weekend? Anybody new, or is it someone that you had last year that maybe you might want to keep on the car because of luck deal?
Well, I tell you what, I don't believe in luck, to be honest with you. I believe in preparation, but if the same sort of look is on the car, I'll be okay with that too. That's for sure.
All right, this weekend's going to be a little different. We got a debut of a teammate under Rick Ware Racing with Tony Schumacher. Well, not everybody, but most, it seems like the drag racing world is aware of this debut and what's going to be happening, as it has been getting closer and closer and closer to the U.S. Nationals. How has that ramped up as well? I'm sure we're talking about 2 more trailers and another car and another team and under the umbrella. How has the gears and the cogs been rolling and working together?
Obviously, there's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, and I do mean a lot. So much so that, some people might say, oh, it's going to take away from your program. But if you look, last race, while all this stuff was going on in the background, we were in the final round. And I don't see why it will be any different going forward. It's just going to be better. And I guess I might let a little cat out of the bag here just a little bit. But I happen to know that that car was on track today at a secret location getting some test laps in. So we will be ready and prepared, not with just my car, but also with 8-time NHRA champ, 10-time Indy winner, Tony Schumacher, will be stomping on that loud pedal come Friday night at the U.S. Nationals in the Rick Ware Racing second car coming out. I'm pumped and excited to find out what it's like to have a teammate, because honestly, I've never had one, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. We've got some great people in place. I mean, man, when you can grab Rob Flynn to be the guy on your second car, and Troy Fashing is going to be right there with him, we've got great people in place, and him and Jimmo, all three of them, have worked together in the past. They've got a lot of history together, and all those guys are going to be in one lounge tuning both cars. So I'm excited to kind of do that a little differently than I think a lot of the teams do. So it's going to be pretty interesting to be able to have double the data, no doubt about it.
I have a question. I know, during the Bob Vandergrift days, I thought you guys were teammates when it was JR and Bob. I thought you were teammates. Was that a different setup, like more of a alliance deal?
That deal, I literally flew in, drove the car, and that was kind of it. I mean, I wasn't involved with day-to-day on none of that. And, yeah, that was a whole different scenario for sure than what we got going here.
It's going to certainly be interesting with where your program already is, then to have added to the brain trust at this very moment and poised to go into the countdown. Last year you win, and this year the car, performing well. It seems like for Clay Millican, it's there in a good way that it has never really been like in the past.
That's a fact. I mean, I've never been a part. I tell this all the time. Probably said it the last time I was on here. I've never been a part of one of what I call the factory teams. The big teams out of Brownsburg. Just really haven't ever been part of that whole scenario where, you've got parts and pieces and all the things needed to go out there and turn on all the win lights. I mean, our team's been in 3 final rounds this year already, winning the Winter Nationals, and I got spanked by Justin at Norwalk, which was one I really wanted to win. Haven't had so much success there during my IHRA time. I got spanked by Justin in the final. And then, then we go to Brainerd. We had a great car. We had a parts failure in the final right up. Actually, I was staging the car. I already knew it was hurt. Hit the gas just to see what Doug was going to do and just pulled off to the side. So, it's a team that is based in a different location than all the rest. And I wasn't so crazy about that initially, but once I went there and figured out that Mooresville, Charlotte area is definitely race city. It may not be circled around nitro cars, but if you need a race car part, you can find it in Mooresville. I mean, and I think that's going to be a bigger benefit as things move forward with the second car coming on, and the resources that Tony has. He's got connections that I don't have. I've got connections he don't have. Same with Rick, owning the team, and you start bringing all these things together, instead of this, it's going to be this. I can tell you that right now. We're going to just ups and downs. We're going to keep hugging each other and moving forward. That's what we're going to do.
You just sit back and thought about the brains that are going to be in that room, and how much these little things that have kind of nicked you in semifinal rounds where you smoke the tires, they might get lesser and lesser because of so many smart people in the room. This could literally push you to another level as far as seeing and eyeballing a championship at the end of the year.
100% agree with that. I mean, we've got a guy that he is on top of those small things, and he goes in, he looks at the data, he sees something, he goes out, he investigates, and he has solutions. And I'm talking about none other than Nick Bonifant. I mean, Nicky is incredible. Everybody thinks of him, and he is fun, jolly, always got some funny story to say. But let me just tell you, I've worked with him for a little while now. I've known him for decades, but the dude is like super smart, hands-on, and he's also fiery. He's definitely an Italian. When he sees something that's done wrong, he'll explain it, go through it, and if it happens again, then the person that did it they're going to find about it real quick. I promise you. Nicky don't play. And then obviously I had already mentioned, Jimmo and Rob, and and then the other person that we got that I am so glad that's on my side is the one guy that you probably don't want to get in a bar fight with, and that's Jesse Schneider. I mean, but you're right. Bringing Rob in is just another wealth of knowledge that you can't buy. You can't buy experience. You have to live experience, and he's got it. The guy, first guy to ever go 300 mile an hour in the 8th mile. He's got countless wins. He's got all those things, and you put all these guys in one room that like each other, and they do, or Jimmo would not have hired Rob to begin with, and when you got a group that has one goal, and that's turning wind lights on, you just can't beat that. I mean, I think we're going to be a force to be reckoned with both cars.
Clay, the U.S. Nationals, obviously the biggest drag race in the world, and arguably one of the biggest races in the world due to, all of the participants. I don't think there's any other race that has as many participants in all of the classes combined at one event. It is astounding what the U.S. Nationals is. But even though that's this weekend, biggest race of the year, you always remind folks of your roots. And earlier today, I believe it was today, you posted about Memphis Raceway Park. It has certainly seen better days. Your thoughts on Memphis and possibly ever a revival, it coming back? I mean, we saw places like North Wilkesboro come back. Nobody thought that was going to happen. You never know what might happen for an old racetrack, whether it's a drag strip or circle track. Your thoughts on Memphis?
Oh, I mean, I had to run some errands today, and it was a little way out of my way, but I had to circle through there, and took that photo, and I'm like, man, it's such a shame. And I've got a kick out of there's a lot of comments on it. A lot of people love that place. And the comments that made me giggle, though, was you should buy that place and reopen it. No, I shouldn't, because for one, they want a lot of money for that facility. And it's nowhere even in my ballpark. It's got way too many zeros attached to it, but the place had its wonderful moments, and it always will have a special place in my heart. But let's face it, and this is something that's hard for me to say, and a lot of people get mad when I say it. If it made money, it'd still be open. I hate to say that, but it's just the truth, and some of it certainly could be, just mismanagement. The prior owners, I think they were more interested in owning land than actually operating a racetrack, and maybe made a lot of shortcuts that eventually caused the downfall. But if it was rolling in the dough, it would still be a racetrack, and I hate that. But the place is certainly special, and we know a guy that's buying a lot of racetracks right now, and I will not be mad if he buys that one. That's for sure. It looks bad, and it's so frustrating to see all the the windows that have been broken, which is, it's like, why are you breaking a window? It means nothing to go break that window. But if somebody were to come in there and revamp it, it's just a little construction work. The facility's got a lot of history, and obviously I have a ton of history there, as well as thousands and thousands of others. You could just read those comments, but it's big money. The number I keep hearing about that place is $16 million. That's a rumor. Don't put any stock into what I just said, but that's what we keep hearing. $16 million, I think, for 350 or 60 acres. That's a lot of money. I ain't got that kind of money, but I wish I did.
Yeah, That is a lot of money.
It is.
It's a beautiful facility. It was a beautiful facility, and it'd be amazing if it would come back. But you're right. That is a ton. Going into biggest race of the year, where is Clay's mind at? I mean, I think I know where you're at because you're pretty calm, cool, and collected. But where are you at coming into this race, and you know, being that you are the reigning, defending U.S. Nationals champion?
Well, you know, I couldn't come in any better spirits. You know, just you judge everything essentially off of your last time slip. My last time slip wasn't great, but it was in the final round. You know, I had a good weekend on the starting line. You know, all my lights were fantastic except for the final, but I don't count that because I knew we were hurt before I ever staged the car. The team gave us a very good race car that just repeated over and over and over again and turned on 3 win lights. So coming into Indy, I feel pretty confident about it, you know. And I mentioned this earlier. You do have to prepare for that marathon. You know, you can't, you know, run yourself ragged, which is very easy to do. And I know I'll probably be a little busier than normal just for being the defending champ. And I'm proud of that. You know, I'm signed up to do quite a few things leading into the race weekend, but those are good things because that's what the defending top field champ gets to do. But I think we're ready. You know, the team's ready, the car's ready. And again, you know, we've had all this stuff going on in the background, but at the same time, you know, my kids have been on point, you know, and they've been on point along with helping a lot the second team get up and ready to go. And, you know, I know they were all together today, you know, making a few laps. And I think they're going to come in hungry as well because we felt like we had a race that got away from us. Doug Kalita laid a big number down in the final, but our previous runs were right there with them. So we'll, you know, that's like throwing the horseshoe. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. We lost, but we're confident headed into Indy.
Well, Clay, I want to continue on the roots thing because ever since I moved to Tennessee, married my wife there that's in Manchester, I'm like, wow, you know, there's a lot more drag strips in Tennessee than I actually ever realized beyond Bristol and, you know, beyond Memphis Raceway Park. And this past weekend paid a visit to Jackson Dragway working with Southeast Gases Association. So you got any good Jackson Dragway stories?
Oh, 100%. The first time this old boy right here ever staged a car up for a drag race was Jackson Dragway, right there off of Ranger Road in Jackson, Tennessee. You know, it has been seeing a transformation. I went there, I think in February. I took my twin turbo truck named Dentley. You know, they were in the process of doing some work, and they have certainly stayed on it hard, hot, and heavy. You know, Mr. Don Baskins bought the place. They had Kurt Johnson in there, did some track leveling, some track resurfacing, you know, and Mr. Don Baskins added, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 acres of asphalt parking. You know, he's really done a lot, you know, and he also just recently bought the racetrack in Dyersburg, you know, Great River Raceway, you know, right up on the Mississippi River, right there on 155, you know. So Jackson Dragway, that was where I started my drag racing career. You know, when I pulled in the place, I love telling this story. I had a 69 Dodge Charger that I thought was the fastest thing on the planet. Knew nothing. Pull in. What class are you running? You know, what's the fastest thing you got? Well, they said, well, it's called Super Pro. Well, that's what we're running then. How old are you? I looked at my daddy and he's like, oh, he's 16. Okay, you're going to have to sign for him. So I make my first time run, and they hand you this piece of paper that can absolutely crush you, and it did. It was called a time slip, and I had to meagerly walk my way back to the ticket booth and change to the pro class because I wasn't a super pro. I wasn't that fast. So, but Jackson Dragway, got a lot of memories there. Sneak up there and go every time I get an opportunity to. It's been a little while because I ain't never at home, but I'll be back up there, and I'll be up there having my turbo truck, you know, doing some laps down that freshly revived place. And Jackson Dragway, it's a cool spot.
It was. It really fit Southeast Gasser's MO very well. It fit right in the portfolio. And yes, those upper pits that Don has got paved, I mean, maybe the nicest paved pits of any track I have seen recently. I mean, it is legit.
It is. It is. He's doing a great job, and that's always been the hot rumor around here as well, that he was buying the track in Memphis. But now he owns two, less than a couple hours apart. So maybe he wants three. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm certainly proud that he's keeping these places open and going. And all you got to do to find out if Don Basket's like race cars, click on 1320 video and look at his car collection that was just posted here recently. Like 900 some cars inside, I might add. And they're all nice.
That's crazy. I got one request for you, though, Clay. So people like doing throwbacks. How about a throwback of the Warner Enterprises colors with the font of Parts Plus font of Warner Enterprises?
Ooh, man, I would be all for that. Man, I'm going to let another cat out of the bag here a little bit. There may be something seen out of a couple of those Werner dragsters, probably before the year's over with. Not a throwback, not on the racetrack, but just stay tuned for that. That
okay,
baby blue, purple, yellow, gold. In my book, it's iconic. When I drive by a Werner truck to this day, I'll take a look up in there and see if I know the driver. Those people were so good to me. They were the family-owned company. Yes, it's on the stock market, but it's still controlled by the Werner family. And man, I would love to do a Werner Enterprises throwback. That would be really, really cool to just show up, surprise everybody. Unveil that thing as the Werner Enterprises paint scheme. That would be cool. Got a question for y'all right quick, and I know Daniel's coming on here, but NASCAR does the throwback race in Darlington. Where would be the NHRA version of that?
Epping.
Where would we do it? Where? Epping?
Yeah, I've been saying Epping for years, and the reason why, Clay, I've been up there a couple of times, and it's just kind of a throwback facility, but yet I feel like they do a good job also to bring in some extra amenities. They know they're not Z-Max, so they do some extra things, but you get the feel that you're back in early 80s or late 70s. I think Epping would be a great place. Or, you put it on the stage of the U.S. Nationals, even so, with all its history. But,
see that.
Maybe even beyond a normal event, maybe it fits in the Peach State Showcase of Speed type scenario, and folks can do some throwbacks. But I really think the NHRA, you all as teams with the marketing partners, have got to get something going on. Like every major sport has got that weekend or week or race or event. And I think when it comes to drag racing, some of the best looking schemes ever in motorsports were on a funny car or a top field dragster. And there is just so much that people could pull for. And we have seen this week that if you don't understand how powerful a brand is and a logo is, and sticking with what works, and even a little bit of nostalgia, well,
I know what you're getting at.
You haven't paid attention, So for all the people
at.
out there in the marketing departments, look, if you're willing to change things just a little bit and connect with something from the past, it's pretty powerful. I mean, I'll put it this way. I look at the teams when they do with NASCAR, the teams that their partner does not do a throwback. I'm like, well, I'm not going to your store. I'm not. Like, support what is going on. So,
yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Well, I got to tell this real quick, too, talking about a throwback. I was watching Daytona this past week, and it was cool. Night race for one thing, which is cool. And also cool, the Arby's car ran up front twice for 23 laps, which was really cool. Cody Ware was rolling in that thing. But Eric Jones was driving the 43 in STP colors. It's just iconic. You didn't have to think about what car is that. You just knew it, and it'd be no different if I rolled up in a Werner Enterprises paint scheme, you would know it. You know the STP colors. The Budweiser King. You know those colors. You know the Castrol GTX. You say that, you know who the driver is. Those things are iconic, and I would love to do a throwback of some kind.
Absolutely agree. I think 2 years ago, and it sticks out in my mind. It's really one of the few cars that does stick out in my mind. Langdon with the Bounty Hunter top field drive. I mean, man, a beautiful, beautiful car. And then I also think of Will Smith coming out with the Larry Dixon throwback with Larry Dixon, and Rick Honda, worked in there. And the only reason I can remember Rick Honda is because it was in a throwback form. It doesn't have to be every weekend, but if it's played right, it is a powerful marketing tool. Really, so, I don't just NHRA, get it done. Y'all get together and get it done. I'm telling you.
And let's make it a Saturday night race.
Yes.
I like that. That would be good. Yeah.
Yes.
These 10 a.m. starts kill me. I am not a morning person.
I don't blame you. That is.
Yes. I think that would be great too. So, night race, throwback schemes, got to do burnouts past the Christmas tree. No, whatever. I mean, just it.
Hey, if we did a night race, the burnouts get longer. For everybody watching this, I want y'all to just pay attention to that. So the crew chiefs these days, they're monitoring tire temperature. They know what the track temp is, so they know whether you can do a longer or shorter burnout. Well, at nighttime, Jimbo will come on the radio, and I already know it, but he'll come on the radio. You can do a little burnout, longer burnout if you want to. Night Under Fire, we did that a couple weeks ago. Amazing event, by the way. Just do a burnout. Doesn't matter. So if we do night races, we get longer burnouts automatically.
I'll take that. By the way, it had to be fun to do the burnout at the Goodyear place. That was cool, man.
How could we not talk about that? And again, Daniel's going, shut up, I'm ready to come on here. But we did the burnout at the Goodyear tire facility. Every nitro tire is made right there in Akron, Ohio. The whole place is Goodyear. The streets are named Goodyear. The roundabout is a Goodyear tire. It's like made into the roundabout. So freaking cool. But I got my buddy Jeff Lutz there. Him and Jeffrey came. They were part of Night Under Fire, and Fire and Jeff Lutz right now, not a good thing to mix together. But anyway, that's another story. Jeffrey said when we were rolling up there, and he's like, man, burnouts on asphalt can be tough. And I was like, oh, we'll be all right. I got, 11, 12,000 horsepower here. We're good to go. So I do everything per normal, other than we're on a street, and it is just a plain old normal asphalt street. And I'm in the turning lane, and I'm looking. It's, 4 lanes wide, whatever. There's a turning lane, and we're right in the middle. And there's this overwalk with Goodyear above it, that's pretty cool. That's full of people watching. And I'm looking. I'm going all the way to the top of this hill. I get this opportunity, twice in my life now. First time being at Elvis's place. And I'm like, I'm doing a burnout all the way up over the hill. Because the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to have to merge onto the interstate. Now, that'll be okay. So that's what I'm thinking. And so I hit the gas. This thing don't want to do a burnout. It just went brrr. And I'm like, that ain't good. I honestly didn't even think it was spinning the tires. So I'm taking a page from Travis Pastrana. If you can't screw it up the first time, maybe you can screw it up the second time. I put that baby in reverse and backed up, and I backed up. Jimbo just kept letting me back up, and I'm like, okay. I put it back in forward gear. I started the burnout completely in the water in a top fuel car, and it did a burnout, but it was not freewheeling the way it does at the racetrack. And it was just buzzing through my mind there. Jeffrey said doing burnouts on asphalt's tough. And I guess it doesn't matter if you're in Mad Max, the Pro Mod car, or a Top Fuel dragster. Doing a burnout on asphalt is not easy as you think, because the Top Fuel car did a cool burnout, but I wasn't able to go up over the top of the hill and out of sight like I was planning on. But that was pretty cool doing that with the people at Goodyear. The craziest part about that, there's been 2 nitro-powered cars at Goodyear ever. And I was the guy with both of them. That's hard to believe, but
That's wild.
yeah. Now there's been people that go and tour, but
Right.
we took the Werner car there years ago. We didn't do a burnout, but we started up, whacked the throttle and all that kind of stuff. And then just here, before Night Under Fire, amazing facility. The people have I'm one of them, and I've done the tour twice in the last 20 something years. We have no idea how much work goes into those tires. It's unbelievable. It'll stop you from bad mouthing tires. I can tell you that, because those people work. Those tires are handmade. Handmade. Incredible.
It's not much still handmade these days.
No. That's a fact. But it makes me feel good knowing that the person who made that tire, they actually put a sticker with their name on the tire. So the person that actually, you see their last name. That's how proud they are. If you go look at the tires, you'll find a little yellow sticker and it'll have somebody's last name on it. They're proud that they made that tire. It's pretty amazing. It really is cool.
It is cool.
It is an amazing investment what Goodyear is putting into the tires that you all and Daniel are running. I really don't think there's another tire company out there that wants to even.
I don't think nobody would want to touch that.
No,
they've got too many years invested of how they work.
Right.
It's incredible.
It is incredible. It is incredible. Well, Clay, you're pretty incredible too, and we thank you for your time, and have yourself an incredible U.S. Nationals, and go for that twofer.
I'm gonna try it. It's going to be. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's going to be me and Daniel and Dallas Glenn. Y'all pick.
Okay,
that's
my
pick.
Okay,
I like
that.
That's what it's going to be. Mark it down right now.
I got it marked down right in my
Daniel
notes.
likes
here.
that too. He's like, I need a good weekend. Come on.
Yes.
I'm picking him because he's ready for me to get off here because I've talked too much. I'm sorry, Daniel, but I truly do believe he's going to be in the final. I'm saying that. Mark it down. That's your three winners. Me, Daniel, and Dallas Glenn.
I like it. Well, Clay, thank you for your time, man.
Thank y'all so much for inviting me.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.
There he
Later.
goes, the defending U.S. Nationals champion, Clay Millican, in Top Fuel Eliminator. We'll take a break, and right after the break, we'll get Mr. Wilkerson on and have a chat with him concerning the world of funny cars and rolling into the U.S. Nationals. This word from Competition Products right here on Competition Plus Power Hour.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Daniel Wilkerson, welcome once again to the Power Hour. And dude, you're pretty hard on yourself. Listen to one of the most recent Insider podcasts, Brian Loans, and you're kind of down on yourself, man. I know it was a tough weekend, but you're going to get through it. You can drive these things.
Yeah, 99% of the time, I agree with you. I do a pretty decent job, but I definitely let a handful of people down there. It's no mind. I know better than to do what I did, but you live and learn, right? So we live and we learn. And hey, I want to point out before we get in here too deep that when I sat out here, the sun was up, but my boy Clay talked so long, now it's dark. I was trying to get you a sweet view of my Skag EVZ. I was bound and determined, right? I was going to sit out here, show you my stripes in my lawn. I was going to do the whole thing, but now it's dark. But whatever, we can deal.
Man, you have been close a lot this year. And really your round win-loss record really doesn't show like the quality of runs you guys have made and really how good this car really is and has been throughout the season, especially on the back half of this regular season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like we all say this, but the thing is so close. I mean, Tim has his package is so optimal when the track is hot. and I don't know what it is about it, but the thing just runs so good on a hot racetrack. And he's been working really hard to chip away at a cold racetrack, and we've made some real progress this year with that. We went to mid 80s. He's done that once or twice before with the laid back header era and the really heavy track prep era. But in this era, that's kind of eluded us. But to get a couple of those down this year gave the whole team a lot of confidence, and not only the hot weather, but I think we're going to have something for him when it gets cool here too.
Well, that's good news for Team Wilkerson. Yes, I mean Tim and his tune-ups. I mean, wow! I can remember him making moves during the summer, and really becoming a player in things. And then it gets cool again, and maybe not so much. But with you all picking some things up, I imagine you're even kind of chomping at the bits concerning the U.S. Nationals, because, man, I might have to turn the heater on for the first time in the camper, ever, because it's going to be in the 40s tonight here in Lafayette. It's cool across the Midwest.
Yeah, in addition to having a dark setting, now I went and got a long shirt too, because it's supposed to get 50 degrees out here tonight, and we're getting there. Indy's, special to us for multiple reasons. When I was little, it was my home track. Before we had St. Louis or Chicago, it was the closest track we had. So Indy was our home track. I've probably missed 5 of them my entire life. And I'm not going to say the track surface is not like the Bellagio of racetracks, which plays into Tim's hand perfectly. It can be tricky when the sun gets on it on Monday. And I'm kind of hoping the sun gets on it Monday, to be honest, because that falls right into his hand. And I mean, like I said, it's Indy. I mean, I don't know. You guys were talking about it with Clay. It's a marathon, but it's the race, man. So I'm looking forward to it.
Man, your interviews are second to none. We get raw, absolute Daniel Wilkerson every time. It's just one of those things that come natural to you. I mean, I don't think, it's hard for others to duplicate. It just seems to come very natural. You really do. I guess it shows your passion for what you're doing when you respond. And I think when you're sometimes brutally honest, it really does resonate with the fans. You know what I mean? As if to think that, yep, you know what? Those guys make mistakes too.
Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of drag racers, you talk to Angel, she's the most competitive person I've ever met in my life. If you're playing chip toss with submission chips and she don't win, she's pissed for an hour. Or if she wins, she tells you about it for an hour. So I am not that way with other things. I worked in an office for a while. We played beach volleyball. I couldn't have cared less whether or not we won. But for some reason, I don't know if it's because we've been doing it so long. I don't know if it's the team part of it. You work with these guys at the shop. They become your family. They become your brothers, some sisters in some cases. We've worked with women in the past that meant a lot to us, either on the car or through the media side of it. Randy Glady, Maria from Skag have become family to us. I mean, I'm getting choked up. This it's not it's just not a thing you do by yourself and you just put pressure on yourself. Whenever something bad or good happens, it affects the whole family. I mean, there's a couple thousand people in Mayville that watch this car run every weekend. They're behind us. There's dealers all over the country, distributors all over the country that watch this thing. And I know they watch it because they've been coming to the racetrack the last couple of years, and now they'll talk to me about this race or that race. It's not just the races they go to. So I think you kind of put all that on your shoulders, and then once they get out of the car, whatever happened, good or bad, it's kind of an expression of how I feel in relation to all those people that are watching and caring and working and missing their girlfriends and missing their wives and basketball games, cheerleading competitions. We're all missing something to go do. Run this stupid car. So it takes a toll on me, good or bad, good and bad.
Daniel, you mentioned in the Insider podcast a couple of weeks ago that you're like, hey, I learned this and I felt it did something completely different than I thought it was supposed to do or it should have done. How fickle are these cars? Can you put it in layman's terms for us?
A good layman term is 200ths of a second. Okay. So get yourself after the show's over, of course. Don't pause the show. But when the show's over, get your stopwatch on your phone out and hit it and get 0.02 on your phone. And that's how long I had to make a decision on Friday before that thing blew up in my face. I heard it zing, but I swear it was after the body was laying in my lap. It was like, I told Tim, I said, that thing didn't do anything wrong until the dash was in my lap. And then I said, I mean, I heard it go whoop, like it was just starting to rev up. But I said, it had blown up by the time I heard that. And if you watch the slow-mo video, this is crazy too, in layman's terms. So my butt and my foot were making moves before my brain was. Because if you watch that video in slow-mo, I'm closing the throttle right as it blows up. So my butt said, hey man, you're not going anywhere. And my foot said, hey man, we need to do something different because something's going wrong. But my brain hadn't registered it yet. And so that's about, so you got that you're dealing with, right? It could blow up in your face. On top of that, your tummy is somewhere in the back by the puke tank because you're pulling 5.5 G's. I'm sure if I tried to breathe, I'm sure I couldn't because, it's only 4 seconds. So I know I hold my breath. The thing on top of being fickle and needy, it wants to do wrong stuff constantly. And you're trying to go 335 mile an hour. I wish there's a good way to put 335 mile an hour into layman's terms, but there's just not. Just besides, like when you go on a roller coaster and your tummy goes woo, you get that for 4 seconds.
That is a good description. That's a very good description.
I told Randy Glady that one day. Me and him were talking about the mechanics of the car, and we've coined that, like that. He'll come up to me after run. He's like, "Did you feel it in your tummy?" I'm like, "Oh man, my tummy it was tickling bad." So I knew it was good. I knew it was going to be fast.
That's good. That's good. Tim had mentioned about you going bracket racing to relax, and Nicole mentions that. Did it help?
I don't know if it helped necessarily, but I love bracket racing. So I don't know if. I think any looks you can get at a tree are helpful. It's good practice because we don't get to make repetition after repetition after repetition in a fuel car like you do in Super Pro. Unfortunately, Clay's story, I did get to run Super Pro my first hit, but I'm kind of spoiled. So we went from junior dragster and we got a Bantam altered and we drug it to the racetrack, and I've only run Super Pro. So I drug that thing up there a couple weeks ago to Coles County, and we got to make 5 runs before I made a fool of myself. It's always going great until it's not, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I almost called Sean Langdon. I was like, dude, I looked like such a stud. I let go like 004, backed into the guy, took like 1, and I was like, I got it. Like, still got this. I haven't lost anything. And the next run, I'm flickering the bulb, and I'm like, yeah, I'm flickering the bulb. I let go, and I'm like, that wasn't great, but it'll play. I'm like 70, and I break out taking like 4. I'm like, what happened to that guy that was driving last run? What are we doing? It was worthy of a notable Facebook group. Probably should have posted that time slip on there because it was bad, but it was still fun. Still have a blast doing that. And we got to take my daughter and make some runs too. At the time, Tim said, oh man, you made kind of a fool of yourself there. And I was like, yeah, I did. But now we get to go junior racing and we don't have to worry about my car anymore. So I guess it's fine. No more distractions for the reason we came here.
How are you liking racing with your daughter?
I love it. And she is coming around. I'm not gonna act like she is she's not like Courtney Enders, Eric Enders style, right on track, chomping at the bit to go racing. But we are getting there. I told her from the beginning, this ain't something we're married to, man. If we do it, you don't like it, we can find something else. Like she seems to love cheerleading. I was like, you can do cheerleading. It's okay. I'm not gonna make you do anything you don't want to do. But the more runs we make, the more comfortable she gets, the more excited she's getting. So, and I told her we're gonna do this in a couple stages. So the first step is just get her used to making laps, and then we're gonna start really working on her car together. Because I said some of the most fun times I've had with Tim and my guys are working on the thing, not even necessarily driving it. So I said we're gonna really dig into working on the thing better, and then 3, we can work on your reaction times because she's all worked up about that because she listens to me being worked up about it. She said, Dad, what if I red light? I said, if you red light, nobody cares, man. We're just getting your license. Let's just go up there. She goes, but you were so upset when you red light. I was like, different. It's a different thing, babe. It's different. It's a different thing. We'll have to jump off that bridge when we get there. And then 4th, we're going to learn how to drive top end. And she said, why would I drive on the top end? So I'm excited to get that, get all that in. It'll be good. It's exciting. And I don't mean to rant, but while I'm thinking about bracket racing, and you were talking about a throwback racetrack, Bowling Green.
Yes,
Bowling
absolutely.
Green would be a sweet place for a throwback track.
It would be. Look, I'm all for, you bringing it up again, that being a special event. It doesn't have to be necessarily a national event. Maybe it's an 8-car combined, funny car top fuel show with pro stock, thrown in or something. I'm fine with it being different and something unique because it is a throwback thing. And Beach Bend would be very cool with its location and the stadium seating and the awnings and, everything it's got going on. It's a cool place.
It's a cool place. I enjoyed racing there.
Have you been to Beach Bend, Dugenay?
I have not.
No, it's cool. Yeah, everybody should take a trip to Beach Bend Raceway Park and take it in, and then you go ride a roller coaster next door too. So it's pretty cool.
That's right.
Yeah, you can get it all in.
It's pretty cool.
Speaking of getting it in, Daniel, World Series this past weekend, is that right? Y'all were back out there?
Yeah, we got Grandpa got to drive, so I always like watching him drive. Whether it's he actually bought a bracket car too. When I was racing, I forgot to see. Poor Tim always gets the last mention. So I was racing, Vera was racing, Tim was also racing. He made a couple runs in his car, and dude, he gets out of that thing and he's like, "Did you see my wheelie? That was a good wheelie. That was cool." I'm like, "Yeah, bud, that was cool." It did a badass wheelie. That was fun. So getting to watch him drive the fuel car again was fun too. I got to pull him in. I've done that before, but not very many times. So it's pretty special to get to pull a real man into the beams, especially in a place like Cordova. We've been, I can't even count. It's got to be close to the number of times I've been to Indy. We've been to Cordova a billion times, running that World Series. So in a place like that, watching him run there, watching him get all giddy, it was fun.
Do you think he misses being in the funny car much?
So I have mixed. He acts like he does sometimes, but then other times, I'd say 90% of the time, he'll be like, "Man, I'm glad I'm not driving today. It's hot. I'm too fat and old for this." And because I tried to get him to test a couple times last year, we tested on Monday. I said, "You should just drive." He's like, every time he says, "We'll see how hot it is." Yeah, too hot, too fat. You do it. Twist my hand, bro. You don't have to twist my arm. I'll do it. So luckily at Cordova, it was a nice, cool night, like you're talking about. It was like tonight. It's like 70 degrees or something. So we got to rake. We took the last year paint scheme Skag body that he drove, and we drug it out there. So it was a blast. It was fun.
He's become a fair weather funny car racer.
Now he would never admit that. So everybody watching, I guess, yeah, you should bring it up to him. He would never admit he's a fair weather racer, but turns out I think he is.
Okay.
He says, that's what I got you for. I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
Right.
It's 120 degrees. You get in there today.
Yeah, you get in there.
So speaking of the things being in your lap here, the tether system has been a talk of conversation. And I hear that on the Wilkerson side and others have been getting together to come up with a solution for this issue.
Yeah, we immediately, I mean, we've had ideas for a while, but it's kind of, oh man, I can't remember the expression. Now I feel stupid. But you don't really make a move until metal's laying in your lap. So once that happened, we really started pressing hard on trying to make some kind of rule change. And Murph McKinney, I know where you're sitting. So Tim and Murph, they're great at bouncing ideas off of each other. Murph's a really smart dude. So stuff he can come up with, he's usually pretty top notch. And Tim always does this too. He'll sleep on it one night. Like we'll be working on it and I'll go home. And the next morning he'll come in and he has like a eureka moment. He's like, I got it. And he'll have a really good idea. For instance, the chute at Indy last year, when our car blew up, the chutes didn't come out, which was very reminiscent of Force's deal.
Yeah.
And he was laying under there. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I think we can do something better with this. He's laying under the car one day at work, and we all go home, comes home. I got it. He makes this little, I use the word because I dislike them so much, tether. He makes this little tether that goes from the cable to the back of the car that we hook up now every run. And it worked at Sonoma. When that thing blew up at Sonoma, that thing pulled the chutes. So it's proven. Now it works.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to have a guy like Tim and Murph in your corner. And we've got a lot of other smart, really, really smart people involved now too. So I think we're headed in the right direction.
What are some of the changes that they are looking to do as far as this tethering system?
So you're looking at one piece that's not necessarily a tether thing, but you see the extra hole right there?
Yes.
So part of our problem, we think, is that there's nowhere for the boom to go. With the tether on there and the front latches, I'm like talking with my hands, but I'm not far enough away. So the front latch and the tethers, there's nowhere for the explosion to go.
Right.
In the past, it would go boom, and the body would fly up and it'd fall over the back of it, and you could take the body and put it right back on. Now it blows into a billion pieces because it's got to find somewhere to go, and the best way for it to do that is to blow the side out of it or blow the dash out of it. So we're hoping a quick fix is that big burst panel and the side panels, because there's some moving parts to the tether part. We're working on different tether stuff, but I think for now that might prove helpful. Yeah,
and that's a good point because the burst panel is nice, but when it's good if the boom is going up, but if the boom is going up and out and it has nowhere to dissipate, it's going to blow it apart. So that makes sense.
There is good proof of this because Tim said that one day, and I said, "Man, you're crazy. It should just go right at the little burst panel. It should be fine." He goes, "Now." He goes, "Look at your fuel tank." And so I walk around the front, and the front of the fuel tank is dented in, not out. It's in. So the only way that could happen is the boom, right? The thing blows up, and it travels over the front of the body. It's got nowhere to go, so it pushes the fuel tank in. I mean, we've done that more than once now when we have big booms. It'll dent the fuel tank from the front, and the explosion's in the back. So, I mean, think about the concussion in there. And I don't know because I've never actually been shot, but I have a feeling I know what it feels like if you had a bulletproof vest on to get hit with like a 12 gauge at a distance. Because now with a couple of these blow-ups, dude, it just comes back in that car. It can be rough.
Yeah, that is a good idea, but man, I had no idea that force was denting the fuel tank.
Yeah, it gets around the front of it. It's
That's
wild.
like that has to be like getting hit in the chest with like I don't know, like 15 sledgehammers at once.
I don't know. I can tell you it's not ideal. Like I've never been hit with a sledgehammer in the chest, but the feeling is not great, and you feel it in your chest too. It gets your attention. That's for sure. It's not something I want to do again.
What does this sound like?
So the boom is so quick, and I think also that you are so focused on trying to not wreck and trying to gather the thing up that you lose one of your senses has to get diminished. You know what I mean? So I think the sound, people have been like, man, that sound rattled my eardrums. I was right next to the car. Well, I was sitting on it, and I don't remember that part. I just remember the feeling, and I remember not knowing like where I was on the race. You know what I mean? Like there's some people at Sonoma that said, dude, that was the craziest boom I've ever heard in my life. How that I was like, well, like I said, all I heard was the ying boo. And then where am I? Like, I don't want to hit Chad. I could be on the return road for all I know right now, because all this stuff's laying in your lap. So I think you just get so focused on trying to minimize the catastrophe, you lose a little bit of the boom.
Your mic.
Mike, I'll take a sip of water in a moment, but thank you for explaining and walking through with us on the body here behind you, as that one's being prepared, and you got another one over there, and it's definitely good to have the support you've got from SCAG and other folks. I know at one time you mentioned that Tim, he wasn't able to go through bodies like this, and now if this does happen, though y'all don't want it to happen, and I know Colton here doesn't want it to happen, but nonetheless,
listen, Colton's got job security. I want to hear that from Colton. Yeah, I should be on the top of his Christmas card list, old Colton over there, because that boy, he's gonna have a job for a while as long as I'm driving these things, apparently. So, but back to your point, the support we get from everybody. I mean, beyond parts, like last year at Indy, I don't like tearing stuff up. So the thing blows up, and I knew it was in trouble. And I literally, I can't tell you that I leaned forward and looked out the side window, but the thing fell on its face, and I looked over, and I didn't see Bobby Bodie. And it's Indy first round. So I looked back forward, and I just kept driving. And it blew up in my face, almost, the body. Indy was very similar to Sonoma. Blew the body in half, and I just felt like a dummy. We get back, and Randy Glady of SCAG Power Equipment, he said, hey. And I was like, oh, no, here it comes. I'm going to get in trouble. He said, hey, you are being real hard on yourself, pal. I said, yeah, man, I destroyed a bunch of good stuff. I'm not happy about it. He goes, you are trying to win your first race, and not only your first race, you're at Indy. I can't say that I'm mad at you for holding your foot on the floor, man. I was like, whew. I was like, all right, well, that makes me feel a lot better. I appreciate you, Randy, but I still don't like tearing stuff up. But that's the kind of support we get. It's not just financial, Some days it's emotional, but it's just it's just good to have partners that are friends too. And the Ford folks are the same way, man. I think I've said maybe it was the insider. I think the second or third person I talked to was the guy that's helping us from Ford. Need another one? Need another body? Do I need to get you one? I was like, holy crap, dude. Maybe. I don't know. Please stand by. But I knew that there was already one at your place. I knew there's one there, Murph's. So I knew we were in pretty good shape, because Randy did ask me that there too. He's like, hey, what's our body situation? And I said, we're body flush, bro. Don't worry about bodies. I said it very confidently. Then we got home and I was like, uh-oh. Maybe we're not as but we gotta go in the right direction now. We're gonna be 95% recovered, I think.
That'll work.
Daniel,
Yes, sir.
you get in the car. We have you on this show. You're on other shows. People ask that expectations question. And from what you said then to where the program is right now, where do you feel it is? Is it behind schedule? You didn't check off a few things on the list that you wanted for that year one, but yet the car is showing promise and performance, but yet there are some major blowups. So where is the program in your estimation to checking off some of those things that you even had on last year's checkoff schedule?
So at the end of last year, I probably would have told you. So at the end of last year, I said expectations weren't exactly met because I thought we could for sure win a couple of races. We didn't win any races. But at the banquet, I told Tim, I said, "Hey, pal, didn't hit anything. I didn't hit one thing. I didn't hit a cone. I didn't hit nothing." And he said, "That's our bar. Our bar is you didn't hit nothing." And I said, "No, that's not the bar. I was just trying to make a point. Like, I thought it was pretty cool. The first year racing, you know, you see guys run over cones and hit stuff. I had nothing. Didn't go in the sand. We did good. So I had a little bit of like, first year. So we'll go from there. But I think we are behind again this year in the fact that, man, I was so, and what my daughter was referring to, that red light in Norwalk, I was so mad that I threw that race away because that was our race to win. And I was a little surprised some of those other hot races. At Richmond, we were right there too. But the thing just got away from us. We were running closer to the edge than we thought. So spun the tire on us there in the semis. But another part of this Skag deal is that Randy Glady and Maria of Skag always remind us that we win races in the tent because the dealers and the distributors and the family that we have coming always leave with a smile. And it's kind of like when my kid goes and I'm pissed off because we got beat first round because I did something stupid. And we left Phoenix and I was still mad. And my daughter goes, Dad, didn't you tell me one day that this was your dream? You getting to live your dream? I was like, yeah, that's true. She goes, why are you so mad? I was like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, no. All right, well, you got me, baby girl. Good call. So then I was like, all right, I'm fine. But, Randy and Maria says a similar thing. As long as the people that we have in there are having a good time, we're really winning. But now, I don't know if you've heard this kid, Justin Ashley. He's also a Skag Power Equipment car. And he's given everyone at Skag Power, everyone at Metalcraft in Mayville has now had a taste of victory and a taste of a near championship. So we're starting to all get on. we're trying to get on that train now too. We're excited to. We're excited for the whole team. Funny Cars, Dave Richards, his car's coming around too. The same thing, like you said, the win-loss record doesn't really show. That thing's coming around too. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with in no time.
It is. It is. Has Justin Ashley told you what he does to, react as quick as he does?
He refuses to admit this, but he's just that good. He's like, blind squirrel finds a nut. Nah, man, you're just that good. You're just blind squirrels don't find nuts every weekend. What's this? He's like 35 or 37 leaving on people. Like, come on, man.
Exactly.
That's not a thing that you look into. So he's just that good. I did squeeze a couple exercises out of him, and I say squeeze. I didn't have to squeeze him out of him. He just was like, this is a couple of things I do. So I think we're gonna try to start doing them together at the track. I don't know if it's actually gonna do anything for me, but if my tiny brain thinks it's doing something for me, it might. So we're gonna try it.
All right. All right. Well, Daniel, look, man, pulling for you at Indy. I'm certainly I'm pulling for you just because I like Daniel, but I'm also pulling for you because I'd love to see a McKinney car in victory lane there at the U.S. Nationals. I know that'd be good for Murph and everybody here too, and be good for Skag, just everybody involved. Be good for you all with the things you've had, and it would be good. Especially last year, I think back, Indy was looking good until it wasn't. So I'm hoping 2025 here is completely different, and Clay Millican's pick was right.
Yeah.
Yes. Clay's kind of a pseudo teammate too. He's a Summit car, right?
Yes.
So yeah. And Dallas is too. So I did like that pick, except for, I do got teammates in Dragster and Pro Stock that are Skag cars. So I got options. Okay. Let's say Clay's is an excellent backup. Clay's pick is by far the best second I could hope for. But if we could get 3 Skag cars in the winner circle at Indy, can you imagine? Holy Moses, that would be. Whew, I don't know if that party'd ever stop. I don't think. We might not make it to Reading.
Might not. Well, Daniel, look, thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and appreciate the laughs, the perspective, the insight. Always good to have you on the show. Thank you, man.
Indeed. Always
Thank
good
you, guys.
to
I appreciate you guys too. Always good talking to you, and off the show and on the show. It's always fun. So I appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you, Daniel.
Take it easy.
Later.
Well, folks, Daniel Wilkerson, driver of the Skag Wilkerson Racing Mustang in NHRA Nitro Funny Car. We'll take a brief break. This word from Peak. And I know that's different funny cars in the sponsorship world, but Daniel's a pretty Peak dude. And we're going to give a plug for Peak in this very moment. And we'll come back and talk some more drag racing.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it Peak. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze and coolant, our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Back with the Competition Plus Power Hour presented by Weldon High Performance. That, man, I love. Look, it was great talking about the funny car body, and so glad to be right here at McKinney Corp and able to show some things they're thinking about and the tethers, and people see them. But the insight of his daughter, that was some life stuff right there of like, well, why are you so mad if this is your dream? And look, I've been there. There's been moments I am fuming mad over something at a race, and I'm getting upset, the stream isn't going, or the camera's not working, or there's something, and then I'm like, hang on a minute. I'm not getting dung slung in my face on a dairy farm like I was 6 years ago. And it's like, just step back and compose and realize how blessed and how wonderful it is. So that was some good perspective right there from Daniel Wilkerson. And good to have Daniel on, good to have Clay on, certainly pulling for those guys this very weekend at the U.S. Nationals. Everybody on here, we all know it is U.S. Nationals weekend, and the biggest drag race in the world is upon us. We want to hear your picks. We want to hear what you're thinking about, what you're looking forward to. But also, Dugenais, it's not the only drag race out there this weekend.
It's not. Yeah, there's more drag racing going on, and it seems like between Ohio and Tennessee, there's just been, Ohio's been kind of like the mecca of drag racing over the last 2 months. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a lot more going on than just the U.S. Nationals for sure.
Absolutely, a lot more. This weekend, I believe the Fling is going on in Norwalk. You've got. Again, I won't be at the U.S. Nationals. I'm not going to try to push myself and I would almost do a double weekend, for like 3 years in a row, but I'll be at Mocan Dragway for Funny Car Chaos, a big event for them. They've had a Labor Day weekend race for over 60 years now, I believe it is. So I'll be there. I think Yellow Bullet Nationals are this weekend as well at Halsey's house, and you've got many other drag races taking place across the country too. So not attempting to take away from the Big Go. It is the top drag race in the world, the biggest drag race in the world, one of, if not by participant, the biggest race in the world. But if you can't make it to Indy, look nearby and go enjoy your Labor Day weekend at the drag strip, and then turn on the tube or stream NHRA.tv on Monday.
Yeah. Just get out there. It's plenty of good stuff. It's been a lot of good drag racing going on. So, yeah.
Yes, it is the Southern 500 this weekend.
Oh yeah, really?
That's absolutely right. Yes, and I love the Southern 500. Been to the Southern 500, and was very glad to be at the Southern 500. I think Bill finished second. I was a Bill Elliott fan, and Terry Labonte won that race before it was yanked away and went down to one weekend a year, and they moved it to the earlier and tried to kill it. And then you have a revival, and then they come up with a throwback race, and now we're throwback of throwbacks in this show with mentioning Darlington. And back to your comment, Dave W., and here we are of Labor Day weekend and great racing.
Yeah. It should be fun, man. It should be a lot of fun. So I don't know if you had an opportunity to see Bobby's article, but I guess it kind of rocked, it rocked the racing world a little bit. What did you think of what he had to say as far as people wishing the NHRA away?
Well, first of all, let me address Drag Racing Mayhem. If you suck at Darlington Drag Racing Mayhem, I'll send you some iRacing videos. I have routinely top 5 finishes in the 87s on iRacing when I was on iRacing. I need to get back on it, but I'll send them to you. It's tire management, man. Tire management, okay? Okay, don't be cultrical. Know how to manage your tires. But with the article I mentioned, I haven't read it yet. Again, I had spent time writing an article and sending it out, and then driving and getting in at 3 a.m. last night here at the house that Murph built, and I currently got Camp McKinney outside. But with the general comments that I've seen with Competition Plus and notifications coming through, I don't think a drag racing world without the NHRA would be better. I know a lot of people, they have almost this chant, death to the NHRA. I completely disagree with that. I do not also go to this extreme. If the NHRA folded tomorrow, that does not mean drag racing would fold up with it. It is too diverse, and it's too big, and it's bigger than just the NHRA. Nonetheless, the NHRA is the premier sanctioning body, and the NHRA in so many ways has made drag racing what it is. And they might not have been the first in many things, but yet they were wise enough to steal and implement what they needed to continue to be on the top. And there has been very few instances throughout drag racing history where the NHRA has not been on top. And for those that even in this day and time they were in make such statements as the NHRA needs to die and the IHRA needs to be, the only thing. No. They don't need to be the only thing. The NHRA doesn't need to be the only thing. There needs to be mutual beneficial coexistence. And if we can get that and strike that right balance, then the drag racing world will be better off, period.
Right. Hi, Megan. Yeah, I liked the article, but I was definitely on the other side of the fence on that. At the end of the day, the NHRA did not invent drag racing. So do you think people would not find a way to drag race? I mean, it's like saying WWE invented wrestling. They didn't. But with a world without them wouldn't be better, but a world with just them doesn't mean that it's better either. There needs to be a even balance. I mean, that's why we have things like Funny Car Chaos. That's why we have PDRA and other places for people to race, because everybody can't do that. Everybody can't show up to do that. That's why we have someone trying to work and make sure that the IHRA is sustainable, because everybody can't do that. But that doesn't mean that didn't exist, doesn't mean that nobody's going to drag race and somebody's going to figure it out. Because, I mean, they didn't invent it. But it's definitely worth and brings value to drag racing that they're here. But they don't need to be the only thing that is here. And that goes for, I don't care what it is in this world. Competition brings out the best in other brands. And when you're the only brand, you become very laxed and complacent. And you do no longer strive to push forward or to be innovative or to do things different, to try to, generate more of a base, because you are it. You become lazy. So when there's competition, it forces everybody to continue to look for ways to put on a show for the fans and to even be able to display that show, whether it's for stream or for TV. So, yeah, it was a very good piece to get people talking. But yeah, that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, I'm not a death to the NHRA guy.
Mm-mm.
I certainly firmly believe the NHRA is the top of the sport, but though it's the top, does not mean that it cannot improve, and it should improve. And I think with the revival of the IHRA and another place for professional fuel teams to go, well, it will help the NHRA move forward.
Mhm.
There was a distinct difference, or at least that I can recall, when I reminisce and observe of my time going to the Southern Nationals as a kid, when the IHRA was a thing and had professional fuel classes at their national events. The shows at a NHRA national event, particularly on Friday night, were better shows than they are currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you went to an IHRA event and they had a completely different flavor. And I think that's why there were some things that at one time you had for the fans, and then the IHRA no longer has the professional categories of fuel cars and others. And the NHRA stopped spending some money on those elements at, well, the time was one of their tracks and it's their show. And you miss out on what they used to add because they had to have something to be a slightly competitive in a different way to what the IHRA was doing. I think so many of these different bodies will coexist. I'll just give you some insider stuff. Everyone asks Chris Graves, how do you think this is going to affect you, IHRA? And he's like, I don't think it's going to affect me at all. I'm going to do my thing. And the thing he is doing has helped drag racing in its own way. There's people who have matured their program, like Joey Haas. He would tell you that it did, and allowed them to go run the IHRA. And at the IHRA, they can mature their program to the next step. You talk to a Dale Worsham. He's like, we need more nitro cars. And he doesn't necessarily mean we need more nitro cars capable of running 340 miles per hour, but you need more nitro cars for a program ever to get to that point with the guys and gals to have maturation and gel and get trained in, up, and out to go to other places and continue to build the sport. Yeah. So all of this stuff I think can coexist. And Drag Racing Mayhem mentioned earlier, Harris and others were like, hey, it could be detrimental to a place like the PDRA and the Midwest Drag Racing Series. It very well might. And if it is, then that's happens. And I know that may be tough, but nonetheless, drag racing has a business side, and these bodies are businesses. And the fact is, drag racing has seen organizations come and go forever.
Yeah.
We don't have the NMRA right now. We don't have the NMCA right now. You know, they have been absorbed into another successful organization, though known for something else in SICK. Okay, so that's nothing new. You know, I grew up going to Super Chevy shows, and what they were is no longer around. I know there is a Super Chevy show, but like it's not the original deal, okay?
Right.
So this has always been around and happened. The one that has been the standard bearer, the one that has been the gold standard, the one that has stood the test of time, it is the NHRA. And I think they're going to continue to do so no matter what. And I don't think, even with a revived IHRA, you're going to find the NHRA diminish in any shape, form, or fashion. The fact is, all of these entities need to figure out how do we coexist and help drag racing move forward together.
Yeah.
The issue is not a particular body, but the egos involved. And we'll see who has the egos. And,
we already seeing that, bro.
And we'll see what happens when egos get in the way and it's detrimental to drag racing.
We're seeing that already on the NHRA side as it is. I mean, you know, you think that there would be more people talking about it and, you know, excited about it for the simple fact that when you think about these little guys that are involved that do fill out your field at times, they can't, nor do they want to run that schedule. But they want to race. So they need a place to race. I mean, we cannot have the Vince McMahon mentality when it comes to this stuff. You just can't. Because I agree with a lot of people would say, I think that's the first thing you need to do is you can't run everything and everybody can't run everything. But you know what? Whatever you cut is going to have a place to go somewhere because there's other bodies out there and those bodies might thrive on having those classes there. But I don't think you just have to have a happy medium. And maybe you have to, like we've talked about, you got to reinvent how and what a national event is. And then you have all these supplemental events. You have to figure out how those things can work and still put together a good product. And time is one of those things that needs to be mastered in this day and age. We're not in the 80s anymore. You know what I mean? Like folks we got people who are 30-second real babies. Like they ain't about no 12-hour time at the racetrack. Okay. So that's just stuff you got to start thinking forward on that. But, you know, it's got to be a point where individuals can understand that what everybody's trying to do is for the sport. And, you know, it's like the IHRA mentions folks, NHRA records and things like that. Why can't the NHRA mention someone who was in the IHRA and what they did over there? Why can't you? I mean, what's the big deal? It's not hurting anybody, and everybody knows you're the WWE of drag racing. So what's the problem? It's only helping the sport by doing that and showing that these people have been other places and had success. It may not have been here in this sanctioning body, but they have. And I think once we can get past all that nonsense and realize that we all need each other in order to accomplish the ultimate goal, and that's for drag racing to be elevated and be on the pedestal of what everybody talks about with NASCAR. And to be honest with you, I just think you need to be better than them. You know, NASCAR ain't in exactly a great place either. So
it's not necessarily the example to follow in everything.
No, it's not. So I think if we realize that, you know, we start working together, things will get better. Things will be better. But if we're going to allow, we're going to be, trying to play who's got the biggest crank, you're just wasting your time, and you're only going to be a detriment to the sport because of it. You got to get your ego out of the way, and you got to think about the bigger picture. And it sure as hell ain't about you.
It's going to be interesting to pay very close attention to the U.S. Nationals and what is said and not said, because we're going to have the first opportunity in a long time, as you mentioned, the mentioning of what people are doing elsewhere, if that is going to be translated at Indy with direct reference to the IHRA. Famously, Alan Reinhart would routinely say the I side, and you don't have many times it ever mentioned what Clay did over in the IHRA or Foley did in the IHRA. Granted, those accomplishments, though timeless, they were a time ago and might not be directly relevant, especially with the IHRA being defunct in its professional categories for so long. That's not the case. You have those classes revived, and there has been competition. There have been event champions crowned. So will we, with a Scott Palmer, will we, with a Lex June, get from the tower? Well, rolling through the water box right now, the man that is from the Netherlands, now calling the United States of America home, is certainly now living out the American dream that he intended to accomplish. He is a top fuel winner in the IHRA, yet still hoping to do it right here in the National Hot Rod Association and at the world's biggest drag race, the U.S. Nationals. Are we going to hear something like that?
Right.
And I hope so for Lex's sake. I hope so for Scott Palmer. I hope that Dale Worsham behind the car with Julie Natus, it's what may have Dale figured out with his hot rod that's here this weekend that is aiding him with some good runs, 2 final round appearances, and a win in the IHRA. So what are we going to see?
Right.
And I don't have any expectation. And I'm not sure what they're going to do, because I will say, whether it's Alan Reinhart or Jason Galvin, and those are the two that I can remember mentioning, and I don't want to exclude Joe Costello and any others. I just haven't heard them say something with people that I'm like paying attention to in a class that I'm covering and I'm filming at an NHRA event. But I can remember Alan and I can remember Jason mentioning with the Nostalgia Funny Cars that, hey, I think of, in particular, Chuck Lofton. Chuck Lofton is a Funny Car Chaos competitor, or, they have said those things.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think there should be a general respect of what is done and accomplished elsewhere. I have heard them mention, with Rivenbart. I believe I'm saying his name, not River Snake. It was a joke. That former PDRA champion and things, so I do hear them mention other things. It's going to be interesting, though, if they mention anything with the International Hot Rod Association, in particular at the U.S. Nationals. It will be a great test.
It will be. It will be. I think that people just need to realize that we all need each other, and we need the IHRA to be successful. It's only going to better drag racing, especially in the fuel classes, for everyone. These guys get to get more hits in, and when they do show up to the 3 to 5 races that they may show up, they'll be even more prepared, and they have more money to be able to have consistent crew, or to be able to get more parts. So all those things are super important in just the whole spectrum of drag racing. And, when you think about it, and we've said this before, you just can't run a nitro car anywhere. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of play. It's either NHRA or Funny Car Chaos. That's it.
Right.
Match racing. I mean,
right. Match racing or Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos, NHRA, and now IHRA. And when I say NHRA, I'm also referring to the portion that is the Heritage Series. I know that's, almost like bastard child, but nonetheless, that is also under NHRA. It's its deal, and you can run Nitro there as well. And look, with mentioning that, Garlitz is on camera at the IHRA event. I believe it's at Columbus, and he kind of gives his idea on where the sport could go or where it should be. And I don't really disagree. I have nothing against with one magneto and like small pump, and you don't have to change clutch every time, and we're not going 340 miles per hour. That don't bother me.
No,
I'm fine with nitro like that. Does not bother me. Like, man, the drastic plastic team with Tom Moultrie and the combination he's got figured out, it is still a cool rocking car. That thing cackles weird but yet throws out big flames, and it's still quick and fast. And yeah, it's not Austin proc rocket fast. I get it, but I don't have to necessarily have that. And I think that's ultimately where I think we can get to a place where you've got like Nitro Chaos nitro burning, and then you've got IHRA nitro burning, and you've got NHRA nitro burning. And it makes sense, and it coexists, and it helps each other. It can happen, I think.
Yeah.
The balance can be struck. I don't think right now it's a matter of too many bodies and too many groups and too many. I think the issue is egos.
Mm-hmm.
And who has got bigger egos and who isn't willing to help because of ego. And, it's almost, drag racing is suffering like from what churches suffer from, a bunch of church splits. Someone got mad because someone changed the carpet and let me go create another church, and we're going to do the same thing over here, but we're going to have green carpet instead of red carpet. That's what it seems like, okay?
Yeah.
Like, some of you out there need to drop your ego.
Yeah, that's it. We can get that out of the way. It would be a lot easier. But I think what you were talking about with kind of magnetos and changing things, even Big Daddy had said something about that when he was interviewed at the IHRA. You have to start thinking about cost at these days. I mean, it's not getting any cheaper, whether it's shipping to parts, whatever. None of this stuff's getting any cheaper. I mean, I'm not trying to get political. I'm just stating a point that when you add tariffs onto everything, that has driven the cost up now. So everything's already high. You add that to it, especially when we're talking about specialized parts. If they're not made here, you know what I mean? Yeah. Even if they are made here, you still, wherever you're getting your metals or wherever you got to get things to make it, those costs get passed down. So there's got to be some way at some point. I don't know if you could continue to have full fields regularly or even grow the fields like could be possible, because the money is just too much to run NHRA style in that magnitude.
I hear you there, and on the flip side of that, drag racing teams figure out more marketing partners that are powerful.
That's true too.
There's that too. Now, granted, you look at like a NASCAR program, and then you look at an NHRA program, and you look at the dollars of a Cup program. You're thinking, wow, it takes a whole lot more money to run NASCAR Cup than it does NHRA drag racing. But then you look dollar per mile.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
very costly to run the NHRA at that point.
Yeah, it is.
So how do you want to split it? Again, I think one, drag racing, they need to push seriously to find more marketing partners. Look, I know there are guys out there that can run on their own dime, fuel race on their own dime. That's great. I'm glad you can, but find a marketing partner still. Pay someone to find you that marketing partner and help bring in another marketing partner into the sport. And their competitor might see that and want to jump in as well. You know, so I get that there are those that can do it on their own dime. That is great. Find a marketing partner.
Do you think that that has something to do with why sponsors don't necessarily get involved, because they see too many of the guys that actually can pay for it out of their own pocket? And
Maybe.
it appears to be like, oh, well, it's just these guys' playground, and, you know, they get to take their cash and this is what they do for a hobby. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Just putting that out there. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying.
Maybe. It's a possibility. You know, I would like to think you if you've got a marketing partner and they have a competitor, you know, they might want to be right there with you. That's very simplistic. I get that. But, you know, and I'm thinking like beer wagon wars, or at one time we had, you know, FedEx and UPS, you get that from time to time. But I think find that marketing partner. You might still be fitting most of the bill, but find that marketing partner and show that the sport is a great marketing platform.
Yeah.
You know,
and Raymond, you're 100% right. I've been saying that for a long time too. That is wild. It is wild what some folks make that don't drive race cars.
It is. It is.
They push this paper around right here. Yeah. It's wild. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
It is wild. It's wild. It's wild when some of them are earning as much as they are, and yet they can't stay for the entire event, and they hop on a plane, and then they gotta wait for a phone call, you know, with people still at the race, and then a decision is made, and we don't have a concrete decision until, you know, like 24 or 48 hours afterwards. That's fascinating.
But they get paid to do that job, though.
It's fascinating. Yes. I like Andrew's question. We'll move on. I hope everyone at the U.S. Nationals does well. And if you're going, let us know. I hope you have a great time at the U.S. Nationals, a big go. He asked, you know, what's the thoughts on the new tower? And then also thoughts on NPK ending. So, yes, I think the new tower is great. Have not been able to step inside. It's bigger than the old one, the one that was tore down. It looks similar, but it's in fact got a bigger footprint from what I understand. And that tower needed to come down. I don't think people realize this. It was past its prime. It had some leakage issues. It had some mold issues, and it needed help. So this looks like something that is fitting, becoming of the most prestigious drag race in the world. So, and look, I will say this: if they keep making improvements, and a place like Gainesville and a place like, Indianapolis Raceway Park continue to get improvements and become better and better and better places to race and represent the sport, I'm okay with the sale of Atlanta. And Atlanta was my home track, and it was my national event. I get progress, and I get doing the deals, and I get things like that happening. As long as we see actual progress, I'm fine with it, and we're seeing that. And that tower was needed, and I think it's a neat tower.
It's a beauty, man. It depends. Every drag strip that tower points in that direction and can see down the drag strip should have a rooftop, hands down.
Yeah, honestly,
the media center looked incredible, by the way.
Yeah, honestly,
beautiful.
If you're going to build a tower, have a rooftop access scenario where people can at least go film. It is a great vantage point. And also, try to make it a little safer. I mean, because you can, like, okay, Maryland International Raceway, you can access the top, but it's kind of sketchy.
A little bit.
There's no railing up there. Like, you're not, it's like access for, do some technician work type stuff, but you can get up there and film, and it's like, okay, I'm at the edge.
Just don't fall.
Yeah, type of situation. And Mac 1320, hey, congratulations. I hope you enjoy the U.S. Nationals in that role and that perspective. And I can tell you that Allie and Josh, they will be very helpful for you and anything that you might need. So reach out to Josh Hatchett and Allie Bland for anything you might need. They will certainly help you.
And if you need a little extra help, just tell Allie that her cousin sent you. Okay, she'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they will be they'll be good. You have fun, you enjoy it, and cover it and how you're doing it. And I think you're doing a fine job. Keep it up.
It's awesome.
On No Prep Kings, which was renamed this year to something. Man, I'm already forgetting. Look, if you've watched this show long enough, you know I have been saying for years, what happens when Discovery's money is pulled? And this is it. I'm not shocked. It imploded.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know. I'm not happy for it, but I figured this day would come, especially with what they already announced this year.
Right.
Now, what is going to happen to those guys? Well, I hope they take their brands and roll in and fold into other forms of drag racing. And let me say this, just because No Prep Kings is gone and Elite, whatever they started calling themselves, doesn't mean No Prep Racing's dead. Like, that's far from it. Far from it. It's just this big, bloated, stars, TV cameras, No Prep drag racing that is now kind of like off the scene. Look, Corey Stamper, he still puts on great promotions and goes and live streams some spectacular races like Dig or Die at Rockingham on the back of the track. And you got places like Brown County just down the road here in Indiana with War in the Woods. War in the Woods is coming up in like, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, again or something. You've got some great no prep races happening. And maybe they don't need the TV cameras. I mean, man, 1320 goes out there, video, and they cover it, and other great places like the Track Channel and Redline Motorsports Media, again, Spooled Media. You've got some great media outlets that are covering that brand of drag racing. I've even gone to back of the track events. Love no prep drag racing. So it is certainly a scene that is not dead. Look, I get it. Maybe your Fireball or your Manslaughter Nova or your whatever might not be able to rock and roll big time. They'll just have to go figure out where they're going to do it. And some of them are already doing that. Some of the original, the OG, they have already been like, well, you're not invited. And they figured out as Doc and Dominator and Farm Truck and Asian that we can go do other things and continue in this drag racing world and continue to make a living, continue to make, passes and continue to make some money out here. And they then bring in crowds to small tracks. I've seen that with Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos at promotions like at Mocan Dragway or earlier this year with the 405 Outlaw Shootout. So it's, okay. And look, let's go back to our conversation. Let's go back to our conversation about the NHRA. And everything else, and it fitting in, and the NHRA, if it was gone, if it wasn't gone. Here's another example. You've got In the Graveyard, another series.
Yep.
It's not uncommon, folks.
No, it's not.
It happens all the time.
Yep. Happens all the time. It's just part of it. It's part of it. But you're right. Yeah. Once Discovery got tired of it, folded up like a tent.
I said for years, what happens when Discovery's money is pulled?
Yep.
To Discovery, it was first and foremost a show.
That's all it was. Yeah.
Okay. And legitimate racing was happening. I firmly believe that. That's what I understand from everybody that was involved.
Right.
But for Discovery, it was a TV show first.
That's it.
And it just being the racing and not having the platform that was Discovery that has eyeballs on it from people who, from all walks of society, then I think it was a matter of time.
Yeah. I mean, when you promote it as a TV show, it's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? And it's just like a lot of TV shows. There's a few that last as long as some have, like The Simpsons and stuff like that. But there's few that last that long. Eventually,
Absolutely.
The run stops running.
Absolutely. Something right. Any popular show eventually is going to have its last episode. Unless it's The Price is Right. Apparently, that's going to last on to eternity.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we covered it, man.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, hey, if you're going to be at Millican Dragway this weekend, come on out. If you've never been, I'll be there. If you see me, say hello. Be more than glad to chat with you. And look forward to the Funny Car Chaos stream. And hopefully nothing catches on fire in the tower caused by me. Hopefully not. But looking forward to having a good stream. Looking forward to showcasing the action there from Millican Dragway.
Andrew wants picks.
Andrew wants picks for, I guess, U.S. Nationals.
Yes.
Yeah. Clay, Daniel, Glenn.
Doug, Austin, Anderson, Gadsden. That's my picks.
Okay. Okay. I like the okay, Gad. Okay. I like that. Well,
we'll see.
It's the last race of the points are made up and the rules don't matter.
Yep. Everybody gets in. You get a playoff spot. You get a playoff spot. And you get a playoff spot.
The NHRA is Oprah when it comes to countdown spots.
Exactly.
Yes. Everybody
gets a playoff
Everybody
spot.
gets in. Everybody gets in.
Good night, Joe.
Yes, good night. Y'all take care. God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.
QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuarterMileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Rooftech Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuarterMileClassifieds.com